Hello students, Professor Stevenson here. Welcome to English 625, Composition Theory. I am your professor this semester, so welcome. My name is Paulette Stevenson, and I am teaching you remotely. So our course is an online course, and I'll go over the syllabus in the second half of the video, but I just wanted to start off by introducing myself and my areas of expertise and kind of giving you a little bit of my own background. So my name is Paulette Stevenson. I have a PhD in writing, rhetoric, and literacies from Arizona State University. I also have been teaching first year writing for 10 years. I specialize in issues of tenure track and non-tenure track faculty, labor and working conditions. I also specialize in feminist and cultural rhetorics. So that's kind of where my expertise lies. My dissertation was written on transnational feminist rhetoric networking of Title IX in global development agencies. So that's a little bit about me. My home is here in Arizona, and so it's not a challenge, obviously, because this is an online course, but that's something to think about if you're on campus and you needed to meet with me. That's not available, but there's a lot of other online tools available for meeting with me. I am really excited to teach this course and to talk about future and current writing teachers about the theories and the practices guiding student writing and the teaching of student writing and the assessing of student writing and the sort of larger social political forces in our society today that have impacted student writing and the instruction of student writing. So without further ado, again, I'm going to get to the second half of this video, which is about the syllabus and D2L, our course management tool and everything. But I wanted to show you my face so that you put a name with a face. You'll see me again on the discussion leader video for the first 2 weeks. But the next part of the video is just going to flip to a screen recording of me talking about the syllabus, so that I can highlight really points for you. So awesome! It was really great to it was really great to meet you, and I am excited to continue our work this semester. So this is what our course looks like right now. The actual landing page might look a little bit different to you. I'm in my student role in D2L, but if it looks a tiny bit different, that's fine. So this is your landing page. There will be announcements here. There are none at this point, which is totally fine. I want to start, so there's a lot of different ways to navigate D2L, and I've tried to pare those down to exactly what you need. So for me, the way that I've set up the course is in content in a weekly manner. So you'll notice there's this overview section where you're watching the video and our syllabus is linked. Quite honestly, I haven't figured out how to put bookmarks in there. And then the course schedule isn't exactly that handy because it's what is tabulated in D2L to just auto-populate this. The syllabus is the guiding document of here. So if you go to the course schedule and say, oh my goodness, there's nothing due this week, that's obviously false. So don't pay attention to this. Pay attention to the course schedule. In fact, I think the only thing that comes up here are honestly our 3 larger final projects. So that's the only thing that has due dates physically set up in D2L. And as you all know, as probably teachers yourself who have to work with a course management system, these 2 things right here are just not my favorite, the course schedule and the bookmarks. But nonetheless, this is what our course looked like. So for example, this is how I've put it together. In this table, there's a table of contents. I have a collection of assignment sheets that explains our 3 more major projects, and then weekly you'll get kind of the weekly things in there. So for example, in week 1, I have a link for you to sign up for which week you're going to be a discussion leader, and that's up to you. There's a link to discussion 1 where you participate in discussion 1. The text here gives any links and all the details of discussion 1. And then hallway conversations are in week 1. Those are ongoing, but I put them in week 1 because I would imagine you all start having questions about how the course works now. And I'll talk about some of this stuff in a minute. And this is general chatter for your groups. So you'll be in these groups, which I'll talk about in a second. And then readings. So any of the PDF readings are given the actual week and linked in that week. Or anything that's on a link I've put in the week that they're required. So that's kind of the setup of our course. You could also navigate this through discussions. You could also navigate through assignments. You could navigate through groups. And then there's some communication tools. So that's the basic architecture of our course. I'll get into more specifics in the week after I go over the syllabus. So let's go back to content. Let's go back to overview. And this is our syllabus. So I want to talk about this a little bit. So this is our course. It is completely online. We start January 14th and go till May 10th. The topics of this course include introducing students to the theoretical underpinnings of composition and then linking those to the in-class practices. So it's being able to articulate the how and the why, or not just the how, but why you would do this. I think that sometimes as teachers, we think about what comes naturally to us. Like, it's really natural for me in class to ask questions of students and to get them engaged and put them in groups. But why? What are the theories behind that undergird what we're doing? And so that's kind of that's kind of the framework for our class. So I would argue that the first half of our class is structured to be a little bit more engaging with theory, whereas the second half, we get a little bit more into practice. But certainly those two things can never be completely unwound. And so our goals are to develop a breadth of knowledge about pedagogy and rhetoric and composition, to become critical readers of pedagogy and theory in the field, to become familiar with the major pedagogy and theoretical lenses in the field, to gain experience in course development and planning, to get experience in writing a teaching philosophy, to contribute to your professionalization in the field, and to become familiar with how composition theories impact course creations. So we're not just theory for theory's sake, is my point. The required texts are here. Our kind of meat and potatoes for right now will be a guide to composition pedagogies. It's a great resource to kind of give us a good overview of a composition theory. So genre theory or second language writing or feminist theory in composition. And then we get into naming what we know, the classroom edition, so it's the small edition. And then we end with John Warner's Why They Can't Write, Killing the 5-Paragraph Essay and Other Necessities. And he is a composition teacher, or former one, because I think he left teaching for a little while because of the material conditions of his job as a non-tenure track faculty. But he does not have a formal degree in rhetoric and composition. However, he is a pretty astute writer, and he has a lot of a lot of practice in nonfiction and fiction writing. So he's kind of an interesting addition to our syllabus, and I'm really excited for us to get there. Some of the requirements here that I ask of you is I would like some sort of video recording material. It has to be, I'm not expecting you to buy anything. I guess unless you don't have one of the things provided here. So a phone, a computer camera, all of those things are fine. And then an online space to upload videos. So I upload the videos that I take in this class to our course, or to my own YouTube page. And that's something that you all can do. Once a semester, you are basically recording a 5 to 7 minute video, and you need the link to that unless you yourself can find a way to get a 5 to 7 minute video on D2L. I trust uploading it to YouTube before I do uploading it to D2L, but that's up to you. Prezi or PowerPoint, an MNSU email account, continuous access to a computer, internet with word processing software. Microsoft Word is still standard, but there are other ones. There's Google Docs if you don't have that. And then D2L user ID and password and access to our course shell. So keeping in mind, like, this is an online course, and you don't need to be online all the time, but you need to have access to the internet for due dates and stuff like that. So some of the course policies that I'd like to kind of highlight is our own diversity policy here, that we are here to enhance and enrich the diversity of our academic community. And so, keeping in line with that, we should also be respectful in terms of online discussion for those things. I doubt this will be an issue, but it's part of our course policies. Gender identity, I think it's really important that you all get called by the name and the pronoun that you wish. I will be doing these weekly wrap-up videos where I kind of talk through like what was good or positive or whatever in the discussion. And if in those videos I happen to call you by an incorrect pronoun or call you by a name that you don't go by anymore, please send me an email right away and say, hey, Professor Stevenson, here's the details. I am more than happy to correct the record. However, I would ask you to give me a little bit of forgiveness. If you know that, like for instance, at ASU, they can't seem to have shed with my maiden name. So my maiden name is Zilmer, so constantly I'm being referred to as Paulette Zilmer, even though I've changed it through the university and whatever. So those official records tend to be hard to change with names. So if MNSU has you at a different name, and even if it's a hyphenated name or you like a nickname or whatever, please email me now and tell me that. Or if it's a pronoun thing, like, I am more than happy to accommodate you, but I need to know because that's kind of the nature of these online classes. Attendance. So I am expecting you to keep up with the readings and long-term assignments. I am expecting you to participate actively, constructively, and cooperatively in activities. So we have writing assignments, weekly discussion board posts, feedback to classmates, major writing assignments, and then these little group assignments, which I'll talk about. So that is, like, those are the works of our class, and I'm expecting you to show up for those. So that's kind of attendance in an online course. I can use my discretion as to whether you could be dropped from the course based on lack of participation. Late work, I'm asking that if you need extra time on an assignment that you talk to me beforehand and that you don't make a routine out of it. And I do understand that as a student, like, things come up, but the more that I'm informed about your situation, the better I can help you. Whereas if at the end of the semester you're like, hey, can I go back and make up like 5 discussions? I'm less likely to say yes to that. Feedback. So if you need my help, I'm asking that you contact me and let me know. I'm happy to email back and forth with you, meet with you Skype, Google Hangouts, Zoom, phone, or email. We can always set up a time that works for the both of us. And then I'm asking you to plan and pace your projects. If you contact me, hours before an assignment is due with a crucial question, there is a good chance that I cannot get back to you in a substantive enough way. So don't expect that kind of support. But do ask your questions beforehand. So our online course consists of the following thing: weekly discussions. And let's quickly look at what those look like. So these are all the discussions you'll notice under weekly discussions. So this is what this week one's discussion looks like. Read these things. Monday before midnight, a discussion leader will post a link on D2L of their video. Okay. For the first 2 weeks, that's me. So nobody's on the hook for that. Wednesdays before midnight, everyone else besides the discussion leader will post discussion boards of 500 to 700 words. And then Fridays, everyone comes back, finds 2 people, responds to each of them in 100 words. So what does this look like? Like, what's a discussion leader? A discussion leader records a 5 to 7 minute video on the readings. The idea being that, let's go down here, sorry. The idea being that the discussion leader's job is to lead the discussion. I want you to ask questions, but I don't want you to just list 5 questions, right? That's not 5 to 7 minutes. Get us into your head as you are reading those readings. Maybe you give a little bit of your reaction or what tipped you or where you came from a couple of things, but definitely get to asking questions as well. I'm not looking for summaries. So if you come up and say, this is what they say genre theory is, and this is what this is, like, that's not appropriate enough to lead a discussion. But what are some things, like, really get into the readings that week and really kind of think about passionately as much as you can. Hopefully you pick a week that you're passionate about. Think about passionately the topics discussed and answer questions. So your job is to record that and get it up by Monday night at midnight on the week that you're scheduled. My only technology requirement here is that we see your face. And if for whatever reason you have problem with that for a variety of reasons, send me an email. I know that in the past I have accepted narrated PowerPoints, but they're less of what I want. The goal for the virtual looking discussion leader is to put a face on our online course. And so that helps us see you. And it's also like, I'm not asking you to put together amazing edited, recorded videos. I'm asking you to read their stuff, put together some talking points and some questions, turn the camera towards you, and kind of talk through those in 5 to 7 minutes, getting to the point where you're asking questions. So it's not meant to be a polished thing. And so that's the idea. So my technology requirements of you then are that we can see and we can hear. So for my computer, the internal microphone is just not that great. I do have an external microphone. You might be able to do that with headphones, because maybe those external microphones are great. So I ask that you test that out a little bit, just to test and make sure that your own discussion leader video, we can see you and we can hear you. And if you're anything like me, hopefully, or it's happened to me in the past that I've recorded like a 30-minute something and I go back and I listen to it and I can't hear it. So test your technology in like beta first. So record like 30 seconds of you. So that's 10% of your grade, and that's once a semester. So you'll sign up on week 1. There's a sign up, and I'll go back to that in a second. Weekly discussion. So the rest of you on Wednesdays will respond to the discussion leader's main posts in 500 to 700 words. And so what that looks like is you might, I want you to detail your reactions to the readings and the leader video, maybe even making connections to your current knowledge and work context, and any critiques or questions you have. The goal is that I need to be able to tell that you read the readings. So referencing what we read is completely helpful, right? Like in, Sharon Crowley's piece, she talked about X, Y, and Z. However, in my modern university, I'm not seeing that. Or the discussion leader mentioned Crowley's piece, but what about Berlin's piece from that week, right? So we know that you're engaging with the readings. I'm fine that you bring in your own personal experience, but I also want you to make sure that you're grounded in the readings, okay? And so that's on Wednesday nights. If the discussion leader gets off the hook for that because they've already led that point. On Fridays, everyone's going to come back Friday before midnight and give replies. So you've read all the discussions and you see, like we're getting through a thread. So maybe you really agreed or argued or had some counterpoints to somebody on a couple of them. And so everyone in the class Friday before midnight comes back and replies to 2 people. Okay. And those are weekly up until spring break, which is week 8, and then all the way to week 16. Okay. The next part of the course are the curriculum designs groups. Hopefully, cross my fingers, D2L has put you all in curriculum design groups. Hopefully that's just randomly. If you have quibble about that, email me. I don't have a better way to do that because we're not kind of in face-to-face class, and we also need to start that on day 1. We need to start putting you in those groups. So you'll be put into those groups, and I will try to make you aware of what groups you're in the first week by the end of the week. And then your job will be in weeks 3, 7, and 9. You and your group will decide how you meet synchronous to discuss a curriculum design element. Using Zoom or Adobe Connect or Google Docs. So I know here it kind of says you have to use Zoom, but I'll make sure I edit that. Using the technology that you want. The goal for these 3 weeks, is that each week will have a theme. And so there's an assignment sheet for each of those weeks. And the theme asks you guys to develop one part of curriculum design. So I think in week 3, you guys are to develop an assignment, a writing assignment. And the document I want you to produce is an assignment sheet. In week 7, an in-class activity. In week 9, an assessment strategy, right? And you're producing something so that at the end of the semester, you will be putting together a curriculum design portfolio. And it asks you, it's all 3 of those plus something bigger that you develop. So it could be a unit plan, a lesson plan, or a syllabus. If you all have been teachers before, then this is a good opportunity to take a syllabus that you have, maybe apply some of the principles or theories that we've talked about, and revise it for this context. Okay, so that's another component of our online class. There's 2 other larger projects besides the curriculum design portfolio. There's an annotated bibliography, which is a pretty hefty research project that I'm asking you to start and continue working on all semester. And then there's the creative map or teaching philosophy, where you put that together. A teaching philosophy is a super standard document Most of the time, if you were going for a job interview at a university or a community college, they would ask you to bring that document, or they would ask you to articulate some of those principles on that document. So it's a good practice to put together that document. If you already have that document, it's a good chance for you to revise it here. And so that's the work of our course. Grading is here. Weekly discussion and reading and reflective posts are 30% of your grade. The discussion, excuse me. Sorry. The discussion posts are the discussion leader post is worth 10% of your grade. The annotated bibliography is 30%. Teaching philosophy, creative map, 10%. Curriculum design portfolio, 20%. Okay, so here's what our calendar looks like. So, my apologies. Okay, so this seems like a reasonable size here. So this is our calendar. It's the week, it's the reading, it's discussions. So this is a reminder, like, hey, Monday's here, this is it. If there's anything due in the curriculum design group, that will be listed there. Any other things to consider? So like I'm asking you to sign up to be a discussion leader. I'm reminding you that I'll let you know what curriculum design groups you're in by the end of the week. You'll notice here that this is my name, and this is my name here on week 2. This week, once after the first week, after you all have signed up, you can put your name on those weeks. Or not you can, I will transcribe your name on those weeks. But that's how it looks. So on week 3, we're meeting in our curriculum design groups, right? And I want to show you what those look like before we get that. So week 3, right? Here's your discussion. Meeting 1, there's a discussion topic, and then I'll put this assignment sheet up there, but this is what that looks like. So I'll put that in week 3. So meeting 1 is this. It's an explanation. In this meeting, develop a writing assignment. You discuss the writing assignment. You want students to complete this and why. It could be something that someone in the group used all the time and love. It could be something something else. It could be something recycled and revised for this application. It could be something brand new. So you can be as creative or as kind of right against norms as you want, and that's fine, right? Because let's face it, there are departments that give you an assignment sheet and say teach this, and there are departments that say do whatever you want. So that's what that meeting would look like. And like I said, in this week is week 3 is January 28th to February 27th, I found a typo. It is not January 28th to February 27th. It is January 28th to February 3rd. So I will put that there. But you can meet at any point in the week. I would like you to produce the document as complete as possible for your own sake. I'm not asking to review it at this point. You don't have to turn it in to me, but you should put it in to start building your curriculum design portfolio. Because like I said, meeting 1, meeting 2, and meeting 3. Once the document's done, you can decide, are you putting it in a Prezi or a PowerPoint, or are you building a website with this? All of those things are completely fine. But the goal is not to have you put together all of these things last minute, but to have build up on this. Okay. So let's go back to our schedule. So curriculum design meeting week, right? This week, so I'm asking to meet with you in conferences. Hopefully I've put together a schedule that works with yours. And you've put together, for these conferences, I'm asking you to start thinking in week 6 what your annotated bibliography idea is. We'll talk about that in conferences that week. You'll sign up the week before, and there's a sign-up sheet in week 5. So you go to week 5, and it says annotated bibliography conference sign up. So I'm going to go there, and I've put together a sign up genius. Now, the kicker is obviously these are limited times. If you can't make any of these times, you'll have to send me an email. I'm encouraging you to try to make one of these times, but if you can't, that's fine. So there will be a couple of times where I'm asking to one-on-one meet with you. There's to annotated bibliography ideas, and there's another like progress one. The other thing that you'll do in your curriculum design groups is that you guys will view drafts of each other's documents. So your draft of teaching philosophy is due on week 9, right? So I go to week 9, and this is a Google Drive folder that I'm asking you to just put your draft of teaching philosophy in. And hopefully it works for you. If not, we can find a better way to turn it out to display this link for you. I'm asking you to put that in. You'll find your groups, and you'll read the 3 or 4 people in your groups for that week as well. Give them some feedback. Let's see, what else? And so, as you'll notice, the thing that gets due by the middle is the first bigger thing you'll turn in is a final teaching philosophy and creative map. And then hopefully the annotated bibliography is put together as such so that you will be putting pieces together throughout the semester. Like it might be that you're reading, I'm asking for 10 to 15 articles for the whole thing. It could be that you're reading an article a week and annotating it for this. You don't have to do this all at the end of the semester. So that's my hope. So I'm going to ask for your progress around week 12. We're going to meet in a conference. It could be that you're showing me an awesome draft. It could be that you're asking questions. It could be that, we're talking about other readings you can consider. That's totally fine. Our third curriculum design meeting group, I may have the weeks wrong in the beginning, so I think it's actually week 3 and 7 and 13, but I'll fix some of that. And then by the end of class, the first final thing that's due is your annotated bibliography is due. And then the last thing is the curriculum design portfolio. So again, that is figuring out what technology you want to do. So do you want a website? Do you want a Prezi? Do you want a PowerPoint? And then that is deciding, putting the 3 documents that you've already put together on there and deciding what the 4th one that you add is and putting that together. Whew. Okay, so that is the work of our class. The assignment sheets for the major assignments are right here. I know that as I've talked through, I realized that there are some things missing and incorrect on our D2L stuff and on our syllabus. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And by the time you listen to this video and you look at that, all of that should be fixed. What I would like you to do at this point is start the work of week 1. So sign up for your discussion leader. You will already have my video up on the discussion by the time you're in this course. And then the other thing, the hallway conversations are a thing that I have for the entire semester. And so what I would like you to do is, if you have a question about how the course works, like you're confused about this, or you want clarity on this thing, please ask it in the hallway conversations. It helps me and your classmates to see these answers publicly. So I subscribe to this one, and they send me email reminders when somebody has posted in this one. And so I will get like, hey, correction about, like, I'm confused about the discussion leader video. How high stakes is this? Great. If you emailed me that, that's only privately between you and I. maybe the entire class is really wondering that question. So I would encourage you to post those kind of questions in hallway conversations. If you have a question about a grade, have a personal situation you need to discuss with me, want preview of your topic by me, post that to the hallway send that via email. Grades, email. All of those things. You need help or an extension, you have a question about a grade, send that to email for me, okay? Yeah. I understand that this is a lot to take in an introduction video, and I do feel the need to tell you everything all at once, but know that this course it progresses pretty smoothly. The syllabus should be a happy guide, and the biggest thing is I completely understand that this is a lot of work, so make sure you're prepared to do it. It should be fun work. There's a lot of articles and a lot of interesting things that we get to talk about, but it is work intensive. So give yourself the time and the space to do that. In terms of working ahead, I always get this question. The discussion leaders could work ahead. Like if you know you're a discussion leader for week 13, you could record that video whenever you want to, but we can't do anything until you've put your video up, which is due Monday before midnight. You can always, as a student, work ahead in the readings and take really good notes, and then, spend an hour putting together the 500 to 7 word posts. My goal for the discussions isn't that this is the most polished and primed prose. Rather, my goal is that they're discussions. They can be a little messy. I would encourage you to proofread them. And we can talk about that as writing teachers eventually, the grammar thing. But I am not a grammar snob. Some of you actually might be, because there are some writing teachers who are grammar snobs. It is not my deal. So if I encounter a discussion post that has grammatical errors, I'm not going to freak out. And so if your writing is hurried, if your discussion leader post isn't the most perfect video you've seen in the world, that is fine. The polished prose that I'm looking for are the final projects. Those are the things that I know that you've been working on all semester. So without further ado, hopefully we are kind to each other. This is my first time using this course management system. So if there's ever anything wrong or a question, like I said, I posted something, but it's not up there, email me as soon as you notice it. And so without further ado, enjoy and welcome to English 625.